Hey. All right. We are live here. Going to be talking to Parker Coffin about his recent win at the Backdoor Shootout. Want to say Shakatal to Hui guys for organizing the Backdoor Shootout. What a fun event. Waves look firing. And yeah, we got a bunch of waves on here, and I want to go through some of the waves with Parker and Baron and Benji and Mason, and just asking them some deeper questions about some of the waves that they made, some of the waves they didn't make, and some of the techniques they used to go to make those waves. And yeah, just looked like it was the Snap 4 team and Logan Doolian, filmmaker extraordinaire, incredible film with all these guys in the film, and he entered the team into the Backdoor Shootout, and they came out victorious. Mason Ho put together a really cool, about 10-minute vlog that shows a lot of waves, the water angles, as well as the beach angle, and some insight into the surfboards that they rode. Yeah, so, one of the things was I was talking with Parker during the event, and he had a wave that was had a pretty radical wipeout, and we were talking about it, and we wanted to I wanted to know, like, so was there a was there any hesitation in paddling for the wave prior to the wave, when you first saw the wave, and upon watching it really close, I saw that he had to paddle quite hard for it. So thinking about he was riding a 7.3, and there he is.
Yeah, Gerr, what's going on?
Yeah, Parker, good to see you.
You too. Thanks for having me. This is cool.
Yeah, congratulations. What a huge accomplishment to you and your team, and what an incredible experience it must have been. Can you tell me when you first got invited to go on the team? That must have been kind of a nice phone call.
Yeah, it's cool because I ended up talking to Logan quite a bit, and that specific phone call, I just kind of thought we were checking in. He's like, dude, I think I got something cool for you guys. I think we could maybe pull off the shootout thing. And pretty much from that second, we didn't know if it was officially on, just because they don't always run the event. They only run the event if the waves are firing, which is pretty much the best thing ever, because you know that if it's on, then you're getting good waves, and if it's not good, then you're just not going to be on. But there's always that moment where you're trying to figure out, oh, is it going to be on or is it going to be off? Is it going to be on? Is it going to be off? And the forecast, like 2 weeks out, it can change a lot as it gets closer to the contest day. And yeah, we just kind of had our eyes on the forecast, and sure enough, it was just like firing, like big pipe swell, big pipe swell, big pipe swell, good wind. And then, then we decided pretty much to pull the trigger, and Logan made some phone calls, and then we flew over there, and it just all happened. It happened quick, though. It was crazy. From the moment we found out to when the contest was done, it was kind of big whirlwind, but it was pretty much the best experience I've ever had in an event, for sure.
Oh, awesome. And those other three guys pretty well for a long time, right?
Yeah, I've definitely spent a good amount of time with every single one of them. Baron, I've probably spent the least amount of time with Baron, but I got to do a boat trip with him for the Snap 4 movie. So it's cool. Him and I have really gotten to become closer through Snap 4, and same with Mason. Like, I've known Mason for a long time, but the Snap thing, kind of just getting everybody in one place and kind of feeling like you're a part of something with other people, kind of just brings you together even more. And I've known Benji for forever. Benji has come and stayed at my house in Santa Barbara since we were little kids. So yeah, it was great just being out there with familiar faces, and they're insane surfers, but really fun people to share the lineup with too. So it's cool.
Yeah, the cool thing was that you're in the water with your own team. So how much camaraderie and communication did you guys talk about stuff before your heat, before you paddled out and things like that, or um, what kind of, because it's so different than going out and being against everybody else, and you know, tell me a little bit about strategy, or just like, hey, we're going out there to just take advantage of, you know, what the ocean has to offer. For it was a 55-minute heat, right?
The first heat was a 55-minute heat, and then they decided to run two 30-minute heats just so if you kind of had a bad window out at Pipe, you'd have another chance in the afternoon, which is cool because sometimes the ocean can just be pissed off for an hour over there and there won't be any good waves. And if they can split that and increase your chance of having a good window, it's super cool. But all of us kind of made a point to hang together through the whole contest. So most mornings that we thought the comp was going to be on, we met up together. We were looking at it in the dark, and the event's unique in that way too, where to pick the heat draw, you end up actually picking a name, like a number out of a hat, and that dictates when you surf. So we kind of all had to be like up and around to just figure out when we had to surf, and we had a group chat going, and then everybody's approach is so different that it's kind of like, it's fun to get together and like bounce each other's ideas off each other. But you know, like you have someone like Barron that's going to ride a 6'2", sit way underneath it, and like everybody kind of knows that that's what he's doing just by judging what board he's going to ride. And then you got Mason on a 7'6", that's like, you know, he could take off under it from out the back, like he could go right, he could go left. And then Benji, like I ride a little bit bigger of a board than Benji, but Benji and I are probably looking for similar waves, you know.
Yeah.
But it's fun just by knowing these guys and surfing with them over the years. I feel like we already kind of had a basic understanding of who was looking for what, but more just getting together and kind of getting each other fired up and just enjoying the fact that we were getting to go surf out there with 3 other friends at all of our favorite waves, you know, and just kind of get to enjoy the fact that we got a turn at Pipeline. And you could tell some of the other teams maybe weren't taking as much of turns in the lineup, but ours was just like full gentleman's rule, like whoever started the rotation would go to fourth or whatever, you know. And it made for just a really enjoyable experience. And I felt like because we were just enjoying it, having so much fun, we would kind of lock into these pretty good windows, and waves were kind of coming in our time slots. And yeah, I don't know, it was just one.
So what was your most memorable wave, would you say? Did you catch that?
My most, yeah, I caught it. My most memorable wave was probably the last day, because I actually, like, I mean, I had fun rides, but I had not had anything that was crazy by any means. I think I had a couple of 6-point rides and maybe like a 5 or something coming into the last day. And then in the final heat, I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm just going to ride some waves. Like, fuck it. I'm just going to go try to ride as many waves and enjoy the experience. And there ended up being a lot of good waves in that heat. And I had that one big one that I took off under it, but the wave kind of ran off and I didn't make it. And that was kind of my first wave. And then after that, I was like, oh man, now's the time. Like I can feel it. Like I kind of got my wipeout out of the way. And like, if one comes, I think I'm on. And it was actually Mason's turn. And the wave kind of came in and was like almost peeking up where he was, but you could tell was kind of moving a little bit further under. And he knew I kind of needed a score to better the team situation. And he's so rad. He's like, dude, I already had like 5 9s. He's like, I figured I'd give you one, you know? And kind of just yelled at me and was like, go Parker, go. He's like, go deeper, go deeper. And so just the whole wave of like him giving it to me and then kind of coaching me to go deeper. And then the thing spit so hard. And so, yeah, that was for sure my highlight moment of the whole event.
I got a couple of waves pulled up here. I think there's a couple that you don't make. I want to show a few of your waves, and maybe tell me when they go through. I can just pause it and we can talk about it a little bit. So I'll show it right now.
Cool.
How do I flip this thing around, you know?
You're pretty good at all this tech stuff, girl. I'm impressed.
No, I've got help with me. Okay. All right, here we go. Do you remember this wave right here? Is that Mason yelling at you? Go.
No, that was the first day of competition, I think. Yeah, that was the first day of competition. And I actually almost didn't go in that wave because I felt like I was a little too deep.
Pause it for a second. What? Why? Can you tell us why you didn't make this one?
Yeah, you actually called me on this a little bit later in the event, but there was a moment where that wave was coming in where I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little deep. Maybe Mason's in a little bit of a better spot. And then I kind of like half-assed chased it over, and I was pretty close. And then Mace was like, are you going? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go actually. And I kind of went for it a little late. So there was probably 4 feet of paddle room that I could have made up for if I committed to it right away. And I think that was probably the difference of making that wave and not.
Because when I look at it, it looks like, can you play it again? Because it looks like when you so you're looking at it right there, and then you're paddling in, and then it doesn't look like it looks like you go down the wave a little bit, and then you do a pump inside there. Did you get gobbled by the foam ball?
Yeah, so I was riding a pretty big board. I was riding a 7.3, and it was funny. I hadn't ridden it a whole lot in smaller waves like that. Like I kind of only ride that board if it's pretty big, and not that wave's like small or anything, but it was kind of one of those like more cupped up inside ones that had a longer line to it. And that was pretty early on in the event, so I was still kind of trying to figure out what I felt like I could do on the board a little bit. And that one, I think, I was just still kind of getting in tune with the board and the wave. But I think if I just had a harsher angle right from the get-go, and if I could kind of done that pump that I did right at the bottom right there, more from the get-go, the second I made it to my feet, I probably could have made it.
Do you think that, were you reviewing, like, when do you actually know inside the wave that you hang on when you know you're paddling back out, reviewing the wave in your mind, thinking like, oh man, I should have moved a little like sooner for the wave, or committed sooner. And did you almost make that wave, or was that one kind of, you were pretty deep on that one?
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't too far off. Like there's a pretty fine line out there where you can get deep and you can travel over the foam ball.
Is this a different one?
No, same one.
It's the same one. Okay.
Yeah, same one.
Yeah, so right here, if you could have been 4 feet over, you think you could have made it?
Yeah, and like you can kind of see as you keep going forward, I get a pretty good pump in the barrel. Like I come off the bottom with quite a bit of speed.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Right.
Do you think that you were do you think that you could have been a little higher up on the wave because of the shockwave part?
Yeah, but that's where I think to be higher on the wave, I would have had to cut it at a harder angle from the very second that I started taking off. So I would have taken off at a more of an angle, and I would have been able to pull up that same amount that I pulled up, but it would have just put me a little bit further over and on top of the foam ball, I think.
Okay, go ahead and play it. We're going to play a few more waves. So,
God, the waves are good. It was so good.
Well, you would have that wave closed out at the end, so you would have had to doggy door, which I noticed Benji did quite a bit in the footage. But so that one looks like you did exactly. So let's play that one. So that one looks like you did exactly what you modified. What you had, you said, oh, I'm going to cut it a little bit higher, because see how you're already turning on this one.
Yeah.
And you read this one, and you put a good pump in there. You're in the middle of the board. I noticed that Mason does that quite a bit. He's right up in the middle of the surfboard. He's riding a 7.6. Barron doesn't seem to be kind of in the middle of the board. He sort of seems, his board's so small, but that one looks super clean.
Yeah, that one was fun. And that's kind of, there's so many different ways you can choose to surf pipeline depending on what kind of boards you ride. And I look up to Mason a lot, just because what's so fun about being able to have a bigger board is that you can position yourself accordingly in the lineup faster. It's not necessarily like, I would love to have a shorter feeling bored on the wave once I got the wave, but it's pretty shifty out there, and it moves
Yeah.
in and out and side to side, and there's bad currents and stuff like that. So this was kind of a huge opportunity for me to practice riding a bigger board out there and try to feel what it's like to get a lot of waves on a bigger board. And that's like one of those waves right there that I was just saying, the bigger board to chase down. Like I had to paddle so far over, and that thing just kept loading up, kept loading up, kept loading up, and I almost got to the position that I needed to be able to make it. But I think that one I just was coming from a little bit too far out, already coming on top of the ledge versus being able to be below the ledge.
Yeah. Now that was the question. That was the conversation that we had after I saw this when we talked on the phone, and I asked you, like, was there like a moment of time when the wave came that you took whatever it is, 100th of a second for, half a second, to decide, oh, am I going to go or not? And that, as you can see yourself looking at it here, you do look like you're a little bit far out. Like there'd be no way you could catch that on Barron's on a 6.2. You'd have to have a bigger surfboard here. Now it looks like you've committed, but was there a time that you could have maybe committed a bit sooner on this wave, and to give you, because this looks like a 100-second. If you had yourself down the wave 100th of a second sooner, you could have made it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was probably a little bit of a time when I was watching the swell line come in that it looked like it was going to run a little too deep, and that maybe I was going to be on the shoulder of it. So maybe there was a second where I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'd really even get that deep. This thing looks like it's going way over there. But then I could tell. But so then I could tell that it was just loading up, loading up, loading up. And it looked like it had a line to it where I would have at least gone through one pretty big section and it would have tapered off quick. But that was a really slow heat too. That was our morning heat. And I never really felt like I never got a good wave that heat. And that was a good wave. I just was maybe a little stubbornly trying to force the issue, and I wasn't in the perfect position. But sometimes you have to do that. Like, I mean, you have to gamble a little bit.
Tell me, stop for a second. Tell me a little bit about being stubborn. I'm gonna flip this one back. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about being stubborn. What does that mean, being stubborn?
I mean, I guess like when I say being stubborn, what I mean is that we're on a priority system out there, right? So right there, I would have had first priority, and that would have meant that when I committed to paddle to that wave, I would have sacrificed my priority. And once I committed, I was like, if I back out, I'm just back of the line and I don't even have a chance at it. And the stubborn part is being like, all right, I'm committed. I think I can do it. Yeah, I got it. Oh, I don't got it, And so that's what I guess I call being stubborn, of being like, oh, I don't know, maybe this isn't quite the smartest, but it was still like the opportunity was there. And I felt like it was a good enough chance to where it was worth trying to get over the ledge.
So when we talked, one of the things that that I learned, and I didn't know this when I was a pro, but this has really helped a lot of my students, especially my intermediate students, because taking off in a wave is all relative based on your level. A 3-foot wave over a shallow reef can be pretty scary if you don't time it right. So what I say is, like, as soon as you see the wave, and the moment you see it, start moving towards catching it. Like, don't, and then while you're moving towards catching it, that's when you make your judgment of whether you're going to go or not. And I know for me in the past, I've looked at waves and just looked at them for a second to be like, do I want this? Do I not want this? And that amount of time that you say to yourself, do I want it? Do I not want it? Can be the split-second difference that helps you make the wave. And so I was asking you, was there a moment when you sort of hesitated? And you said, yeah, because you weren't sure. There were a couple factors which you didn't tell me about the priority part of it. You had said that you'd hesitated a little bit, and it sounds like you were looking at the wave thinking that I was focusing more over towards off the wall, right? Like it was maybe a bit over that way, and you were gonna, and if you committed for it, this is the other part. If you commit, so you got to kind of, like, in the future, maybe think about making your way towards the wave without making it so demonstrative that you're going for
For
it.
sure.
So you don't give away
Yeah.
your priority. Yeah.
There's a subtle art form right there.
The subtle, there's acting in all sports. I mean, the fake out with the football, this, and then, what they do in tennis and baseball. It's just every boxing, everything has fakes and acting to it. So that's one of the areas. But I think that just thinking about the consequences out of pipeline are pretty gnarly. So you're going to want to, I'm not sure you ever had done this before, but you give yourself the idea that you can abort the mission at any point, right? But it seems almost like once you've committed to paddling for it, you're not going to abort. But making that decision the moment you see the wave could buy you the time to make the wave of your life. And wave is so insane looking. That thing is so tall and so thick, and it spits so hard. And it was impressive, and it was impressive that you went for it in the first place. So, but and in that sense, your board's 7.3. Were you thinking, geez, if I had 3 more inches, I would have caught it too?
No, not really. I just felt like that was positioning on my end, and like that day, it was washy. So if you see, like, we're dodging big wash throughs, and that's why we're probably a little bit further out on the reef than you would be to catch a wave like that. And yeah, even that wave, like when I was. But you told me. Go ahead.
Oh, you're probably going to say what I was about to say, but I remember our conversation, and you said that there was, when you were taking the drop, when you first started, you saw that there was a bump in the wave, and you didn't want to fall like flat on your face and get sucked over. So you sort of made the decision to abort.
Yeah, like if you go really slow, like right here, if you go really slow, frame by frame, like right here, I'm still kind of thinking that I got it. I'm like, oh yeah, sick. I'm going to knife this thing and I'm going to get blown out. And then it's like right here where I feel like I'm going over this ledge, and I don't know. I think it's mostly just the wave boxing out and getting really barreling. But right here, if you look, my rail's already separated from the face of the wave. Yeah. And I'm already pretty leaned over on my toes, like anticipating to set my rail and be able to kind of knife the face of the wave. And right here is like the next 3 frames pretty much right here. That's the moment where I was like, oh, I think I'm too airborne to be able to do my knife thing. I'm going to abort. And then I did this kind of, it worked. Like I penetrated, and like the worst thing you can do at pipeline is pretty much like airdropping, falling onto your toes, and then belly flopping, not penetrating and getting sucked over the falls. That's worst case scenario.
No, it happened to me.
It happens to everybody. That's what's fun about it, is like you do it a couple times and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. So that one, I tried to not do it anymore, and I penetrated for sure. Like I didn't belly flop, but I also didn't get like a really clean get under the wave. You could see I get a little contorted and my ribs kind of hit the face of the wave, and I ended up going over. Not as bad as when you belly flop, but
I want to talk about to me it looks like when you first stand up, I'm obviously going to be highly critical here. When you first stand up and you put your front foot down, I feel like your left foot, or sorry, your right foot, your front foot, it needed to be a little closer to the rail. And just your head, see, your head's really close to your knee right here. And I feel like your head, what the backsiders, what the natural footers do, it's easier because they're grabbing the rail, and they keep their, I'm going to flip just back real quick. So they keep their chin like really close to here, and as the board falls down the wave, it's real easy to have that happen. You know what I mean? Where it goes like this, but it's in the it's putting. You can see Jamie O'Brien. You can just see John. You can see Mason. They all just go like this. Baron too. They all go like this, and then they go down with it. And so Goofy Foot has to be where your head is. Everything is perfect right there. But as you could, if you forward it a little bit, watch how your front knee goes away from your chin. Sorry, I got to flip it. Yep. High tech here. See how your knee goes away as it goes down. Your knee goes away from your chin.
For sure.
It gets farther and farther away from your chin. So that is the moment of, I mean, this is like Formula One race car, like high level stuff. So that's where I would say, you know, you could learn from this, you know, and I think that's as edgy as it gets. So it's pretty. Wouldn't you say that through some of your mistakes is where you learn like the most stuff? But
yeah.
You have to have the
Especially out
courage. You
there.
got a lot of courage by going for that wave, and that's an admirable quality. And then you also didn't get hurt, which is great, which shows your experience and stuff. So, so yeah, that little tidbit of information for people out there on a late drop, whether it's pipeline or it's just your local beach break or whatever, that chin being close to that front knee, you can kind of see. When we go through a couple of Benji's waves, you can see that his front knee, he sticks his front knee forward over his toes on his right foot, on his front foot. He sticks it, he like purposely does it. You can kind of notice that equivalent of the front knee over the front foot toes is pretty similar to getting your bum on the natural footer, is getting your bum over your front heel. And if you notice, a lot of the backsiders too, they will it's also quite, it's easier for the natural footers to put the front heel down on the heel side rail, closer to the heel side rail. You can see it, like even some of Mason's waves have both his feet are almost on the heel side, you know, sort of part of the stringer. So anyway, that's kind of that's what I see.
Yeah, no, that's what's so cool about being out there and doing this contest is, you get to watch really good surfers out there, and then you get to have some trial and error, and like what you said, the error, and that's kind of where you end up learning the most. And it's cool because, you know, you have to try, you have to give it a good effort, and if you don't make it, then hopefully you get another chance. And that's what's cool about this event. You kind of eat it, and then before you know it, you're like, oh man, all right, I'm going to get my other chance. And then you can go out and get the best wave of your life right after the worst wipe out of your life.
You told me that you did a lot of wave key prior to the contest, partly because it's pretty crowded out there to warm up, and secondly, you said that you didn't have a lot of surfboards, so you didn't want to maybe break some boards and stuff. And how I guess how much does that help you mentally with confidence and by doing that?
Yeah, pipe is a hard one to warm up for. It's like hard on your body, hard on your boards, hard on the crowd. Like there's a lot of challenges that come with trying to get ready for a comp out there. And the wave key is so cool because when you're doing it, you're so mentally there, you know, like as you're doing your pop-up exercise or like kind of your like knifing exercise, that's like maybe at that level to go surf that wave. It's like you're doing all the movements to try to simulate knifing on a big wave. And I just feel like the more reps you go through that in the pictures when you're doing it on land, the more clear and vivid you can make them. Then when you get out there, you kind of just fall second nature, like you've been doing it all the time, and your body will kind of just adapt to whatever it is that you've been doing on land. And
yeah, no hesitation. No, it probably helps you without not hesitating and making the movement really efficient, because as you can see, I mean, we just went through like a very technical, very subtle part of the takeoff, which I would say intuitively, like as you're falling down looks like a 12 12-foot drop or whatever it is, you know, it's pretty natural to make your head kind of go away, like yikes, you know what I mean? And you really
Mm-hmm.
need to be like sending it down
Mm-hmm.
and
And those are just
and
the little
getting used to
cues
that.
you can carry. Yeah, that's what I think, like the little cues that you get from doing it on land when you're going and doing it in the water. It's kind of like you've already reminded yourself all those little things that make your takeoff better. And so when you have that fresh feeling of knowing that you're kind of been doing it right, I think that the higher reps give you the more confidence, and the more confident you are to be able to push that level of that takeoff and kind of go on waves where you're like, oh, I might not be able to make it. No, I can. That's the feeling that I feel like you go for when you do all the wave key prep before an event like that.
Awesome. And I mean, everybody does it. Like tennis players warm up before their games, and boxers are sparring before they fight, and you know, and they're doing, race car drivers are driving around the track, like everybody's getting, you know, practicing getting their micro, you know, nerves ready to perform at the highest level. Is who else did you see out there doing surfing incredible? I saw some really incredible rides from some people, but was there some stuff that really stuck out that you, when you were watching?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you got to see Claude Grace's wave, but Claude Grace's
I
wave
did,
was
yeah.
pretty incredible ride. Like kind of one of those once in a lifetime waves that kind of looked like he wasn't going to make it and ended up making it. So that was insane. All the Florence brothers and Eli Olsen were ripping through the contest for sure. And you know who else? Like even some of the Japanese guys had insane rides.
I saw a couple from the guy in the white helmet had like a couple gnarly, good drops, really good technique.
Yeah, like really committed, really like over his front knee, like what you were just saying. A lot of the guys on that team, and even the Peruvian guys, I felt like pretty much everybody in the contest I saw at least get one amazing ride, and a lot of guys just going for it. And that was what I thought was so cool, is you see these guys that might not always get the opportunity to really capitalize on a big pipe wave, and everybody was just going, which was I thought super inspiring. There was no hesitation. Guys were just going for the wave of their life the whole contest, and that's always pretty fun energy to be around.
What an awesome thing. Hey, I listened to
And Mason. Sorry, I gotta
Mason's
say
vlog.
Mason. I gotta say Mason
Yeah.
too. I didn't say Mason. Like everybody on our team was like owning, but Mason was like in rhythm from like the second that contest started. Like he for sure actually, like I watched
And you
his
got
ride.
a front row.
Yeah,
front row.
I was hearing him out of the barrel just going, yee, like his sound effects and everything, you know? So Mason for sure. Watching that firsthand was like pretty next level.
He put up his vlog, and he said that, you know, he put up everybody's surfboard they're riding, and he made a little bit of a comment. I think he said something about you wanted to change your board. Was that something that you were thinking about? You wanted to change a board during the comp?
Yeah, well, I had been riding that 7.3 a lot, and I was liking certain parts of it, but then at the same time, it would have been fun to try a smaller board. Like I would have loved to try a 6.6 one day, just because I don't get that many opportunities to get waves out there, and I know I can do it on a smaller board. I just ended up kind of leaning towards longer equipment, honestly, mostly for the crowd, so I could sit in a little bit of a different place. And that was what I had kind of gotten myself used to over the last few years out there. And, you know, that's rad, but it's trickier to slow down, you know, and unless you position yourself from deep enough to be able to kind of to get deep, sometimes it's really hard to slow down. And so that was what I was thinking. I was like, oh, maybe I could ride a little bit of a smaller board, and I won't try to sit and wait for as like big, tall waves, but maybe I could just try to position myself and get deeper. So I had tossed around that idea, and Mesa was rowdy. He's like, just hold both boards and watch a set come, and you'll know which one's the one. And I picked up both boards, and I sat there, and I watched this big old, like, second set come. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to ride my 7.3 again. And then I just kept riding my 7.3.
I think it's quite a bit harder to slow down on your forehand with a bigger board, though, right?
It really is, yeah. And it's
Is that
tricky
why you're
because
doing? It looked like you were doing the double arm, bottom turn. Slowing yourself down. We got a couple here. Let's watch a little bit. My my high tech, hey, producer. Let's go to the other camera angle. Here we go. So there's the double arm right there.
yeah, and right there, like you could tell, I mean, that wave, that was a really pretty wave, but I'm trying so hard to slow down. I'm not pumping to get up in the barrel, and then right there, I'm just trying to drag with everything I can. And like, I mean, ideally, if you're on a bigger board, you're taking off back where that other chip is. But that day it was a short period swell, so it was pretty all over the place and hard to get behind the wave. But yeah, so like a couple waves like that where I was like, oh man. But then look, you get a wave like this, and you're like deep, So I was
What
learning
happened
that
on that
process. This
What
is
happened
just
on
like
that one?
I'm just kind of trying to figure out, like that wave before, you could tell I'm a little bit on the shoulder, and that one I was like, all right, I'm going to try to position myself really, really deep. And that wave I positioned myself really, really deep, and I got one really big good pump, and I think I went for another really second good pump, and the foam ball just kind of took me out. Like I
It
have
looks, yeah, it looks pretty deep. It looks like you're just pumping at full speed, like right there, just full speed. Oh, look at that. Oh man. But it looks like the shockwave came up and just took you out. You would have had to ride so high in that wave to get through there, huh?
Yeah, and that was like one of those waves that I caught where I was like, man, that would have been nice to have a 6.6, because I probably could have done a little bit more maneuvering in the barrel, I guess. Like that on that bigger board, I get one really good pump, and sometimes if I have enough space, I can get two. But as the
I
wave gets
see.
higher, as it goes more towards the channel, sometimes you just need to ride higher and higher in the barrel.
It's crazy because the wave before it looked like you were probably like, oh man, I wasn't deep enough on that one. And then the second one, you're like too deep. And then how about this one? This one is, how is this one such a nugget? Oh,
Yeah, dude, that wave was so good. And that thing
what?
came in a really weird spot, kind of like if you see Mace and I are like pretty much scratching out and over, that thing kind of like marched in super tall, but just barely didn't cap on the second reef. And I feel like those are the best waves out there, when they just miss breaking on the second
Yeah.
reef.
Okay. And so let's take us through this one. You're paddling into this thing. This thing's just a teepee. And you don't look like you're paddling that hard though. You look pretty mellow.
Nah, I'm giving it pretty good digs right there. I think you're just going really slow.
It's such a look at that thing. That is incredible.
But
But
that was cool. Like,
you do get like you can see the wave sucking you back up the wave. You haven't even gone down the wave at all yet. And it looks like once again, like you don't have enough weight on that front foot. So the tail, I mean, the whole board just drifts right there. And that's where you really needed it not to drift. You can see
like,
that you grip back into the wave though, like right there. See it? And then you get your weight on your back foot and you get a little pump right here. Oh man, it's but you needed to be, like you said, maybe 4 feet over.
yeah, like I think that wave too. Like I had to chase that thing so far out that when I was paddling, even though like it might not look like I'm paddling that hard, I just motored so far to be able to get into the spot that like
Yeah.
when the wave, I didn't have much time turned around paddling. So I'm like turning out to it. And then when I'm turning around
Yeah,
and
right.
going, the wave's still moving so fast, and I didn't have enough time to get the momentum probably that I needed. But if my fins just didn't disengage and I could have rode on my toes from the top of the wave
Yeah.
and then just gotten one really big pump, I think that would have been the best wave of my
Yeah.
life.
I think so too. Wow. And well, but if you weren't on the 7.3, you wouldn't even have got over there to it, probably. So you got
No,
that.
I don't think so.
Huh.
Yeah, and then I got that one. That was the wave right after where I was like, all right, yeah, just almost got the wave of your life. You should just get a good one. That that was the wave that Mason gave me. He knew too. He like knew I wanted one so bad, and that thing came, and he had already had some nice rides, and we needed a score, so he's legendary. And that was my favorite wave of the whole comp, probably.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. What a good time. Well, what's the plan for Snapped? Is there another movie, and you guys planning to do some more stuff?
I don't know. You might have to ask Chucky about that one. I can't speak for the master and what his plans are, but I'm hoping that he does more stuff. I think the whole just Snapped, I guess, name has got some pretty cool momentum behind it, and I think he enjoyed the process of making 4, and I know all the surfers did. So I think selfishly, I really hope there's another one because I love being a part of it.
Awesome.
And I think that, yeah, I think it's good for the surf world. I feel like it's a pretty good raw depiction of, just all of us doing what we love, and, Logan being super passionate about surfing and creating a good platform for people that he likes to work with. So hopefully we keep going.
Awesome. And Ian, there he is.
Yeah.
I thought that was my cue right there.
It was.
And we got Mason, Benji, and Barrett on standby too, so they're ready.
Oh,
to go.
epic!
They're ready to go. Mason just got out from pipe, and yeah, the boys are ready. But thanks for having us on, Brad.
Shootout.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, yeah. Well, I was just asking Parker about how you guys ended up entering the competition, and and then and obviously you got a super star-studded team, and you guys must have thought, hey, you had a good chance of, you definitely had a fighting chance of winning this thing, and then you won. And well, first, congratulations, and yeah, tell me how you felt when you got them in and the waves are good, and yeah, give us a little story.
Well, I think obviously with the Shootout, I've entered a team before. It's usually been for companies that I've worked for. And I put together a winning team back in 2017. It was Mason, Nathan Fletcher, Bruce Irons, and Tyler Newton. Jack Robinson was supposed to be on the team, but it didn't end up happening. And we won that event, but we didn't win the individual. But I just knew that it looked like the North Shore, it looked like pipe had been pretty quiet this winter. And usually for the Shootout, for some reason, it just turns on. And I was talking to Parker, him and Benji had been talking, and I knew between the guys in the movie that weren't surfing for the other teams, like I knew Zeke was surfing for Quicksilver. I had heard that Jack was going to get in with Volcom, and then I figured with Mason and Barron, Benji and Parker, and Seth Moniz was going to surf for the team before this trip came up he had to do last minute. And on paper, I thought, well, any of these guys could pretty much win the event. And together, they had a really good chance as a team cohesively to take the win, even though the other teams were stacked. I mean, it was the first time the Florence brothers did a team. And I knew that Volcom was going to have a really good team, and Quicksilver and the Hui Wax and all them. But I always believe in my guys. I'm biased. I just thought, too, on top of it, win or lose, to give them an opportunity to be in the contest would be a cool way to pay them back for how much dedication and time they invested in the movie. And so I thought, at the least, worst case scenario, 4 guys in the movie are going to get to surf pipe together and continue to keep like the team vibe. That just because the movie's done doesn't mean that that we're done. And until we decide to make the next movie, I still plan on us doing some cool stuff together. And this was a perfect opportunity. And the main concern was looking at the swell forecast. So I kind of bought us enough time strategically to where I told all the guys, all right, look, we're going to get inside the long forecast. And I want everyone to keep an eye on it. And we're going to reconvene on this date. And on this date, we're going to make the call. Are we in or are we not? And by the time that day came around, there were so many swells stacked up one behind each other that it was like we'd be blowing it not to enter the event. And we just decided to pull the trigger. And Seth had to go on a trip last minute, so we ended up going from 5 guys to 4. And from that point on, it was on. We put together the group thread, and you know, these guys, like, we're all friends, I think, before, but like Parker mentioned earlier, like him going on the boat trip with Baron and these other guys, like, I feel like the movies really brought a lot of them together, and felt like even though we're not a clothing brand or anything, I still feel like we're a team. And the movies brought everyone pretty close together to where, you know, I think they're all cheering for each other. And
I think that's the best. The best is being around the best surfers. You know, if you can be around surfers that are better than you, it's just such an advantage. And then if you can't, then you just buy the movie and watch it. And where you know, nobody watches on VHS anymore. We used to wear the tapes out just on certain people's parts because I got to see that again. I gotta try to do that. I got to learn how to do that. I got to see that, you know. And I'm speaking for a lot of people. People are really, really stoked that that you're making these films and having such high performances in them. It must have been hard to pick the team because you got, like, you know, Clay Marzo, and you just have, like, you have so much talent all through it. You know, that I suppose was how did you? I mean, how'd you pick the team?
Well,
that part seems hard.
It was kind of basically who was available, and then who was dedicating a lot of time to who's available, and then who was dedicating a lot of time to pipe. And obviously, Mason's at the top of the totem pole. What's up, Mace? And
yeah, man.
Yeah, Mason.
And Mason's at the top of the
boys.
totem pole.
Sorry.
And then obviously Baron had just come off of getting second. He's gotten second at that pipe event twice. He came up just a few, 90 seconds shy beating John. And then he had like this buzzer beater kind of scenario with Jack Robinson where he could have won that event twice already. And I think Baron's really building that reputation as, like,
no question.
He's a weapon out there. And
no question. It's exciting to watch. Yeah. No.
And then Benji, obviously we know what Benji's capable of out there. And then we know too, you know, how much time Parker's over there. And even though, you know, he's not from Hawaii, he's obviously dedicated a lot of time to trying to get his waves out there. And I thought this would also be a perfect opportunity for Parker to, you know, be able to surf pipe with just 3 of his buddies from the movie. And then Seth was supposed to be on it, and we know what Seth's.
Must have done something good in a past life, huh?
Yeah, totally, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
felt so lucky.
It just made sense, and like, again, I thought, you know, no matter what, to give these guys an opportunity to be in the event would just be another way to pay them back for all the hard work.
That's so rad. I'm sure these guys, I'm sure these guys are so stoked, you know, and win or not win, stoked, but definitely stoked to win.
Oh,
congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, look, we don't want to enter anything that we don't think we can win. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, I don't want to make a movie unless I think it's got the potential to be the best one. And the day that I don't think we can make a better one is the day I'll stop making them.
Yeah. Well, that you can see that comes through the passion and your, you know, your heart and soul into it is what people dig, man. Speaking of that, like, dude, Mason, thanks so much for coming on. You know, I remember when you were like this big, and your dad was one of my heroes growing up. And, you know, how's he doing? You know, I saw a wave of him the other day, you know, pulling in, and I wrote on there. I had to repost it because I was so stoked, and every heat I had against your dad, he found a tube. It didn't matter where we were. He was finding a tube somewhere. And I'm like, he always finds a tube.
He'd be psyched hearing that. He always had the coolest stories of you too. He said you guys had such good heats, like always just like it was on, huh? Like a good kind. Like you guys would always have good heats, like you guys would surf good against each other.
You know, the last time we competed, we had I was at Haleiwa. It was with Kaipo and Sonny and him, and he was coming off the bottom on this wave, and I just went, woo! I screamed because I was so I got such a good memory, and I'm so observant, so I was just zeroing in on his face as he was bottom turning, you know, and he was bottom turning, and I was thinking about, fuck, man, like he used to be on my wall when I was a kid. There he is, fucking still coming off the bottom, and he wants to nail the lip. You can see it in his whole thing. I was just like, dude. And later he said to me, he's like, you're stoked, huh? You're stoked. Fucking stoked. So stoked.
So sick. You guys got the best. You guys grew up during the best, bro. We're just trying to want to be all you guys still.
Yeah, we used to just laugh so hard. But hey, dude, we got there's so many killer waves of you in this event. First of all, congratulations on winning the whole thing.
Thanks.
Secondly, congrats on the team. You guys obviously were working together so that all you guys could get the waves. And I watched
Parker.
your blog. Yeah, but I watched your blog, your vlog, what you know, and I love the song. Whatever
Thanks.
song that it's
Every
got the
now and
best
then.
vibe. It's got the best vibe to it. It's like it starts you up, and you know what I mean? Like it's what is that?
No, you got it. I mean, I don't know. It's just like I said, we're like wannabe. You guys still trying to. I always want to bring that like old, that like soul, that kind of soul vibe, and usually if something starts all like like kind of like, you know, like all the Wave Warriors movies and all that. If you could just barely get like a tenth of the feeling of those, then it's like, okay, I think we're onto something here. All I need to do is we need to do our job and just ride the waves as best as we can. But then usually the music will make the wave riding look a little better sometimes.
Emotionally, you must have felt so good in those waves. And speaking of the emotional part, like you have those like things you do with your hands that when you come out of the tube, and to me, like when I see them, I feel like they're like the energy of the wave coming through you, and you just got to do something with that energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just
No,
you
nailed that.
shit.
You nailed it. No,
Jedi
yeah,
shit.
you Park, same as you. No, I think you're right.
It's in his genetics. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah,
I don't even know
real.
where it comes from. You're right. No, I think Brad, you understand it probably more than I even understand it. Like, I think you're right. Just, you know, all that like preparation and being all psyched, you know, you're pumping yourself up, or like in your friends, you're pumping your friends, they're pumping or everything. You're like trying to get all the positive. You're like, oh, everything's so happy and positive, and or like now I gotta ride some waves with this energy, you know, and then if you're lucky, you get the correct wave that lets you like, yeah, usually you'll come out and there's no containing how happy and how good the feel is, and you think of your whole gang or all your people or nothing, you know, you just
it's so big up.
It, whatever,
it's like it's like so big, it, you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's like too much feeling to just contain, you know, it just comes out. Also, you're like, whatever, I give up.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah. Sorry, can't contain anymore. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, dude, I love that one wave that you it looks like, you know, first you've got that you grab with your front arm, and then it looks like you grab with your front arm, and then you get sucked up a little bit too high, and then you reach down with the other arm, and the board is like tilted like this, so it's getting drawn up the wave, and then you tilt it back this way just in time, and then go and then come out. It's like you did you get that feeling when you started getting up high? Because this is what happens to me. I go ooh, 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 and then I go, and then
just the best feeling, huh? Yeah, it's like a reset, like you found the lever. Yeah, like but no, you nailed it. You nailed it. But it was actually a funky moment, to be honest. It felt fun and nice, but from in there I couldn't tell, because when I was doing the side grab, I'm still trying to figure out how to get the best vision with the side grab. because I usually get stuck trying to look forward still, and then I want to look back, but then that's never good, you know, when you're looking back too much when you're going forward. So I was kind of like, I'm still trying to gauge how to get the real vision. But as I was doing that on that wave, I remember I was like, am I in it? I can't tell. I think I'm in it. I hope I'm in it. And then all of a sudden, I think I wasn't
right here.
Yeah, I couldn't really see where I was going. So I accidentally went a little high. And then there was a moment there where I actually went all hands on deck, which I didn't want to ever admit, but I went all hands on deck, and I pushed the rail back down with my normal one. So I was cross-handing, and then I put my normal hand on the deck and then pushed it down and then let go of this one, and then got lucky and didn't slip, and I held that one, and then the wave kind of worked with me right there. I remember it just barely hiccuped, so it let me come through.
What's crazy about that was a hard wave to ride normally.
Yeah, you got really close to the board. Like you just, it's like you pressed down like you're like a turtle on it, you know, just as close as you could, as close as you could be. You know, like just, you know, like the thing is, I think we got it here. Here's one there, right there.
Oh. Yeah, no, that was so fun. That's kind of, it was crazy. There's a moment there where I went the all hands on deck. That was the one thing I remember, and I pushed it down, boom, and then I was all stoked, like, whoa.
Yeah, the all hands on, there it is. Look at that, there it is. That one.
Too stoked. Well, that one, I
love that one.
Moment. I remember that.
I love it.
I was stoked I finally made one. I remember on that wave, I was like, oh, I think I finally got barreled on this one. I was like, oh, yeah, here we go.
No.
And then,
you look like in such a good spot for this one right here. Oh, that one's just.
What was that? I didn't.
What happened on that one?
Remember that one, Parker? I was telling you.
I remember that one.
So that one, I got stuck being a little bit angry about I was like, not angry, but I was a little upset on my scores in the beginning of the event. So that wave was on the last day, and I remember I tried to take off as deep as a little deeper and a little later. Then I was like thinking about it, like, oh, don't rush, just go, be late, try and make it look critical. I think they don't like the cruising. And then so I tried to go late and fade it, and then I started stalling because I was so angry, or not angry, but I was just started thinking, what, you want it deep, I'm gonna go deep. So I like stalled, and then it started spitting, and I was like, I'm not getting up, and then the greediness, you know, when you're greedy, it's just negative. So I got the negative result on that wave.
You know what's crazy though, is like the armbar one that you were talking about before. Like a lot of some of Mason's best waves, they didn't even go into his final tally. Like I think he might have got a 7 on that one that blew everyone away with the armbar, right?
No, that was fun. No, there's a couple they gave me a little, like, I think they scored me almost well on the. Well, no, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple scores where I was stoked, and then some I was like, hey, more. But then in the end, it all just like they were spot on. So I was all stoked. They just made it all like you know, in the football game when the team gets too far in front, even if it's your team, you're just kind of like I think they didn't want to see someone go so far in front, or I don't know. That's what I'd like.
I think that's human nature, huh? That's human nature. You know what I love?
Let's keep it a game. Let's keep it a game.
Yeah, I love the. How about this thing? This backdoor one. That's just like the nutsest.
This is another low score right here.
We could say anything because we're just with Ger Doggy.
Well, it's over.
Whoa, yeah. Or that was one of. I think that was my favorite. Those two rides were my favorite rides of the event for personally.
Yeah, that was your favorite.
And those were low scores, but one of them got bumped up a half a point. But in general, those were both 8s.
8.5.
Really?
One was an 8 and one was an 8.5, which had us all pretty baffled at that point. But it obviously was all good in the end. But we were tripping on the scores for a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was good inspiration, or like it definitely fired me up, Brad. I'm sure you know that stuff, huh? When you're you're in those comps and stuff, and they kind of lowball you, and you're like, like poking the bear vibe, and you get to actually, since we're not fighters or negative, and we can't really channel that any other way. It's pretty cool when you're surfing, and you're like, okay, huh? Like I'm gonna surf harder or be a little more.
Yeah. No, that's the best place for me. That was the best place to be in because I want to ask you about. There's one on here where you hit the foam ball, the board goes boof like this, and then you still make it. And I just, that thing is
fun.
That thing was so impressive. Do you find that, like, because you're riding a 7.6, I can see that you move real far forward on the board. It's like you shorten the board, by moving it forward.
Yeah.
And
choke up
you
on
have
the back.
your stance. How's that one though? The one where you wait, I forgot that these are playing in the background, and we're not. I gotta stay on that foam ball thing. So with the foam ball, if your stance, having your stance a little wider allows, because the board blows up like this, and if your stance wasn't wide, you wouldn't be able to get the board. It would just blow you back. And are you looking, when you're in the tube, are you looking at like when the wave's pitching out to how to change direction in there? Like what are you looking at?
Well, seems like sometimes when you start to pull in, you kind of just start gauging how the suck, like like the closest thing you could see usually is like the how it's coming up the face. So then you kind of gauge that, because sometimes you can't even put your butt down if it's too weird or whatever. So I usually like to gauge what's coming up at me first, and then kind of like second would be like that canvas, like the lip starting to throw. Okay, how far is the lip gonna throw? How should I stall or speed up, or like you said, even move up on the board? Sometimes if it's gonna throw like too much, like sometimes if it's like a square one, you want to like kind of do what you said, like choke up on your board or choke up on the bat. You like come up on the nose, and you can kind of like be more steady or whatever. And then sometimes if it's just oh no, I meant to say the opposite. Sometimes when it's too square, you gotta just stay really safe and centered on your board, so you can't really move around and play. But then it seems like when it's gonna be a playful one, and like on that wave, I knew I wasn't gonna get. Or I was like, oh, this ain't like my craziest wave, so I could actually play around. Like, let me try get up on my nose. So on that wave, I actually moved up on my nose just to like play around a little bit. And then when I was stalling there, the lip happened to like buck me a little more. And I think I was lucky that I moved up, because it did what you said. It like put me back forward. It wasn't like I had too much board in front of me, or I wasn't back on the narrow part of the board. I was like in the like belly of the board, so it was all steady, and it helped me. And to be honest, it didn't even really feel that crazy when it happened. It just felt like, whoa, okay, I got away with something. But then when I seen the clip, I was like all stoked, like, whoa, it did like a little wheelie. Like
it looked like you could have caught the nose so easy when it came back down. Were you pulling back on it? Could you feel that? Were you pulling back on it a little bit?
Totally. Well, when I pull in backside, my favorite trick is just to hold the rail as tight as you possibly can, like you're trying to crunch your fingers through the fiberglass. And
yeah. Here, I got it right here.
I love that feeling.
Oh yeah. Here it is, right here.
Oh yeah, that was a little. See, it was a little more playful, so I was like,
whoa! I don't think I remember that one.
Let's go back on that.
That was the Bronco ride.
That was the baby Bronco, huh?
That was
holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I remember that. Those are one of those little.
Yeah, you were dragging right from the start, which you can get it. I think you can drag my. You tell me, but you can look at that. That is just. Woo! Look at that! Look at that right there.
Maybe because the board. Well,
that's
I think
insane
the board
right there.
Was heavy. The board was a little heavier than my usual board too, so maybe that kind of helped too. Maybe if it was a light board, just.
It blew through it, huh?
Yeah.
I think that makes such a big difference, having a good heavy board out there when you know you can just keep the momentum up over the water coming up at you, then your board's just always going forward. I think that's
that's a bucking bronco. Hey, Logan, I gotta get Baron in here, and there's only so much room. But
I didn't want to be rude. I'm gonna kick off so you can get Baron and Benji on. I know they're on standby right now, but thank you for having us on. And
dude, thanks for the snap film, and everybody should go watch it, buy it, support it, man. I couldn't be more stoked on the level of surfing these days. Everybody's fucking tearing the bag out of it. If I walked up to the beach when I was 21 and everybody was surfing like, I'd be like, what? I gotta quit.
I love the section. I love the section based stuff because it allows you to like pick, what surfers you want to watch and study, and it's really cool to see Mason's highlight reel at 2 years condensed into 3 minutes, or Parker's or Barron's or Jack's or any of these guys. So I'm super fortunate to work with these guys. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't want to keep making movies, but they really like brought in something that makes me like, how can I turn away from working with these guys? They're the best. Yep.
Yeah, no,
appreciate everything.
That good people, good surfing,
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm signing out,
good
boys.
Music, good
vibes.
Chucky.
I'm signing out.
The world needs it. The world needs it. Thanks, Logan.
Benji and Baron, be on standby. Someone requests to come in.
Yeah.
Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, because I got more questions for you, Mason.
Thank you.
I got more questions for you, Mason.
The boys.
So the board, the 7.6, is how much have you ridden that? Like, is that an old Faith, or
that's
is that
kind of my go-to? Yeah, it's been about like 10 years now. Yeah,
boys.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
How you doing?
B hammer time. Baron held my 7.6 for a minute right before the heat. He checked it out.
Remember that.
His arm.
Oh yeah. 1 second.
I felt sick.
Yeah,
the end of the Spectrum board.
I wanted to. There's a couple more questions for Mason. We went through when did you start? When did you start like moving way forward? Because obviously riding a 7.6, you're going to be able to it's shit. Like Parker said earlier, it was shifty. It was a short period swell, and if you have a bigger board, you can be like, oh, that peak way over there. I'm over there. Oh, I'm on the inside. Shoot, you can move around really fast.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks, oh, longer board, it's not going to fit in the wave, and then I'm not going to be able to maneuver it. But it seems like the maneuvering in the tube isn't so drastic up and down. It's more like just 10, 15 degrees. It's only going like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're right. So, you actually nailed.
Yeah, so moving forward on it feels like you shorten the board a bit.
Yeah.
The dragging of the bum, like you said, sometimes you can't. If you're going too fast, you can't really do it, right? The board your butt just skips off the thing and throws you off, huh? You have to kind of do it before you get too much speed. Is that right? Uh-oh, something. What happened there?
When the face, am I back?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. There was like a little.
Someone tried to call. Yeah. Someone sneaking in, but no. Sometimes you can just tell on the surface. Like you don't want to if there's warble, if it's sucking back super fast and you're going too fast and there's warbles, you don't really want to stall, because sometimes if you just put your butt down for a millisecond, it'll just buck you forward like over the nose of your board. So you kind of want to get in, like stall quick, like you said. But it seems like nowadays, or just lately, it seems like even with Baron, you'll see Baron do it all the time, and Parker and everyone. It's fun when you're flying going 100 miles per hour. You just slam your butt down or slam your brakes, just because then it makes it Jurassic. You're like, and it usually makes it cool. So
would that be at the bottom of the wave more?
Yeah. Well, kind of anywhere really. Like now, it seems like I've done it a few places where I shouldn't have, and it almost made the ride more fun. like maybe I don't know. It's just all kind of all over the place. It's fun to kind of just try. I'm still kind of figuring out exactly where's the best spot. But I think what you said, the dream is the to make it the most perfect and textbook is you want to get your butt down and just stall before you start going too fast. So you can like gauge and get up right when you want to.
Let's look at this one right here, because you didn't make this one, but maybe you remember this one right here.
Yeah. Okay. Let's check this. So I wonder this might be the one. Oh, it was a little deep. Yeah, this was in the morning when I should remember that morning heat of the last day. I was a little I was really fired up to try like get a little deep, you know, because the other days there's a few where yeah, I just wanted my scores more. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go deeper. And then I just remember that heat, I was kind of stalling too much and going a little too deep. So I think on that wave I was a little deep, but that was the heat right after that wave, and that one kind of worked out. Finally, I got like a nice wave where
that was the one. That thing was psycho.
Almost, yeah, almost.
Wow.
I wish I landed right there.
Holy shit.
But yeah, now that was fun. That was cool. That's when finally I was like, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna try to get deep and not stall. So that was cool.
How low on the wave do you try to go down to stay at the bottom of the wave to maximize the time in the tube? And obviously the lower you go, the closer you get to the shock wave, so it makes it but you stay in the tube longer. So you play around with trying to stay as low as possible? What are you doing?
Yeah, well, it just depends on how the wave looks. Like sometimes when you take off, you'll just see it way, way, way down, goes out. So you almost just want to stay up on the wall and wait. You know that one, yeah? You just up on the wall, and then you want to wait till you're gonna get your deepest, and you drop down, and then you hang by the bottom, like you said, if you want to kind of like slow down or get next to that foam ball if you want to feel the foam ball. But if you want to stay away, you could kind of be high, and you're always gonna
like
have
on the
that
real
emergency.
like on the real deep ones, the ones you didn't make. Were you paddling back out, like thinking to yourself, like, shit, I should have pulled up sooner, higher? Are you making like little mental adjustments and stuff?
Totally. Well, for me, I mean, on those ones I didn't make, or nowadays I'm always like, oh, my line was perfect. I don't know what happened. Like, or when I don't make one, I'm like, the only thing I must have done wrong there, because once I'm up and riding, I'm like, man, it can't get better than what I'm doing. But when I do not make it, I'm thinking, okay, I got to work on my positioning, like where I took off on the wave. Like I go straight to the position. I start like, okay, work on your positioning, because I usually know when to like pull up. But there was a couple waves in the event where I remember I didn't. It was really good pipe, and it's been like a while since there's been no one out and good pipe. So I had a couple where I was like, ooh, I should have stalled more. Like I'm not doing the right thing, you know? So
and can you like tell when that's happening, or
is
it just all happen so fast? Does shit slow down for you? Cause you've had so many tubes. Like, are you able to slow down?
Well, almost. It just goes kind of what you said. It just goes so. I think it actually goes pretty fast. It seems like the good ones go slow. Like and it seems like a good one is when you feel like you're fighting the foam ball. When there's a moment you're fighting it, and you're just like boom, and you get reset, and then you come out. So for me, it's like if you don't feel the foam ball, that little fight with the foam ball, that little tussle, I'm always usually like, oh man, I blew it. Like I should have stalled or something. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed that there's just, it's all like, I noticed that you drop down you get really close to the surfboard when you want to pick up a lot of speed.
Yeah,
you know.
That's when I feel the safest, and like I'm gonna go the most fastest, like you're like a little cannonball in the middle of your board, you know. Like
how high can you ride on the wave before you get pitched? Do you like play around with trying to ride like? I mean, obviously you don't do that on the peakier ones. You do that on the ones that you gotta like try to make. You know, like how. And I guess it's a question for Barron too, because he's riding a surfboard that's more than a foot shorter than yours. like how do you find, Baron, that when you're with the smaller board, you can ride up higher on the wave and maneuver it a little bit in there? Is that why you ride the shorter board?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like paddling a bigger board is nice for sure. Like when I was feeling Mason's board, I was like, oh, this thing would be so mental, just like chip in on. But yeah, I like when I'm on the wave to feel like that short board feel, so like you can maneuver more and pump and stuff.
So you could get yourself out of, like, if you were too deep, you could kind of like on a regular, you know, performance wave, you're behind the section, you do a couple pumps to make it around the section. You have limited room, even though it's a giant tube at pipeline, but you still have some room in there to like do some. I noticed you do this like pump while you're still grabbing your rail, and that how do you know when to do that pump? Is it feel, or are you looking at like the lip and trying to gauge like, oh, that thing's gonna throw, so I need to catch up to there?
Most of the time it just depends on like the position I'm taking off in. I'll look and I'll be like, okay, I'm pretty deep, so I'm probably gonna have to do a pretty big pump right off the bottom.
Yeah, can you show that?
Other times it's kind of just like, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to pull your wave up here so we can watch it.
But yeah, it kind of just goes off of like where I'm positioned on the wave.
Like this one here. Right there, you did that little pump right there. Did you do that just because did you look to see, or did you just feel like when you're taking off on the wave, it was like ultra deep?
Yeah, I was taking off, and when the wave came in, I was like, oh, I'm deep, so I'm going to do a big pump. And then like right when I did the pump, I was like, oh, I'm going to outrun the whole barrel. So then I like tried to stall.
Fuck.
I should have probably just like stalled off the takeoff, but yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy. I feel like the best waves go back so much too. Do you guys feel like that? Like when you get to the bottom, they look like they're going to be really long, but then all of a sudden they suck out so much that the line kind of like pulls back so much.
For sure.
It's crazy.
It's wonderful. Wow, that wave just spit. So that thing is such a nugget. What sort of do you think it's easier to get to by taking off so late? Baron, is that why you ride the shorter board too? Because you can take off really ultra late? Do you think it's easier?
I mean, for me, it's easier. I think it's just personal preference. Like, if I rode a bigger board and I rode a bigger board for a year, I'd probably like riding a bigger board than I do on a short board, you know? So I think it's just preference and what you kind of like to do and what you are most comfortable doing, you know?
Is your board like a specific design pipe? Like, does it got like some extra glass and it's a little heavier?
Yeah, kind of.
Or is that an industry secret? No.
I mean,
I was actually curious with Baron, man. That guy could be on anything out there.
No, I mean, my personal preference for a pipe board is like I like to keep them super thick in the middle and then make the rails like really, really thin. So I have that like paddling power underneath my chest, and then when I'm on the wave, it's super sensitive like a short board. That's just my personal preference.
Yeah.
I've seen other designs that have worked. I've tried,
who shapes your boards?
Sharp Eye.
Oh, Sharp Eye. Okay.
Which is pretty sick too, because he's probably learning a lot from you, having you as like a pipe guy, because he doesn't have that many guys on his team from Hawaii that he's made pipe boards for. So he's probably having way more fun now that you're on the team, learning how to dial. Because that's how that guy is, you know. He's from the outside. He's trying to get better all the time at whatever he's trying to make.
I'm sure you guys know this, but your feedback to the shaper is your currency. That's your worth. Your feedback to them is what makes them want to make these surfboards, is what gives them the intel, which inspires them, and that's what a professional surfer's currency is the ability to give that feedback. Because like when you're in that situation, so few people are in that situation, you can tell, hey, the board worked like this, or the board worked like that, or I'd like more foam, or I'd like more a sharper edge, or like a more tapered rail because it's not biting the way I want it, whatever, So just remember that I'm an old guy, but people still want to make me boards for some reason.
Feedback. No, you get the feedback.
The feedback is, and you learn it through. It doesn't have to be technical mojo. Oh well, the rail has to be this many inches. It's feel. Yeah. It's like it feels like this here. You're you're good at that, Mason. It feels really good here. Doesn't feel that rad right here, but has this sense of smooth. And you can use like what do you call it? Sound effects, everything. That's feedback. That's worth stuff. So, but hey Parker, we wanted to grab Benji, and there's only so many spots. So I wanted to make sure we talk to him. Thanks for coming on. I got more questions for you guys.
Yeah, boys, fun to be a part of it. Fun surfing.
Congratulations,
you guys too. Yeah,
thank you. We miss you already.
I know. I'm coming back in a week. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, boys. Have fun. See ya.
Yeah, Park.
Yeah, Parker. Love you, buddy. Hey, Baron. Do other guys ride really small boards out at Pipe that you know of? I know Dane Kealoha was riding like short boards out at Backdoor back in the day. Yeah, Benji.
Can you repeat it?
What's up, you guys? How's it going?
Yeah, buddy. We have some insane waves of you on here. You look very comfortable out there.
Thank you.
You were. I was just asking Baron about these about a shorter board, and just saying like, are there other because you're how old are you? Are you 21 or how old are you now?
I'm 25.
21?
Gonna be 22.
I'm a little older.
You're
Wait,
I was just asking Baron. You're 21, 20 about that age. Are the other guys in that age group also riding shorter boards? Would you say?
Yeah, for sure. Like all my friends, like Kalani, Makana, and Noah, they all ride shorter boards. I think Makana rides a little bigger board, but yeah, we all ride relatively shorter boards.
Yeah, gotcha. Are your boards changing a lot? Like each season? Are you going with different widths and different?
For sure. I think during the shootout, I was testing out a lot. Like I was trying, like some older board, like some of the boards that Marcio had that he had made for Pipe previous to me getting on Sharp Eye, and I was riding them, and they all felt really good. And then during the shootout, I got to try all of them and really get a lot of waves. And then I definitely made a few adjustments, and now I got new ones that feel really, really good, and I'm super, super stoked with them.
Epic. And did you get the wild card for the Pipe Masters?
Yeah.
Oh man, congratulations!
Yeah, thank you.
What an awesome thing. And what about you, Mason? Are you are they lobbying for you to get into the?
I think they're trying. I mean, I don't know. Actually, technically, I don't know what they're doing really. But we're all hoping. I'm all freaking over here hoping. Yeah, doing that. But it's all good. Like I'm so stoked on everything right now. It's all just a nice win. I want to see. To be honest, I want to see Baron just go have fun and do what we just did again, but with these guys. And I hope they score waves, because I know if Baron gets to ride waves with them, it's going to just work out perfect. So
yeah, for sure.
Keep the team Snap just on the podium.
Yeah. For
so
sure.
It's a big win over here. We're all pumped.
I wanted to. I'm pretty excited about watching the upcoming comp. I sure hope you can get in there, Mason, because I think you and Baron could be in the final. You guys could win it. No problem. It's just about, deep tube riding, and you guys would have just reviewed all your waves that you just went through, and your surfboards are finely tuned, and you just got to believe you can win it. You just have to, it's insane how important belief is. It's just, you know, it's a mystical playing field out there. You know, you just,
So
you know,
true.
you just got to believe. So I wanted to ask Benji a couple questions. Benji, your board looked like, you know, magic. You've ridden that one before, huh?
Yeah, I think Mace was telling me the whole time I got to get new boards. All my boards are pretty yellow. He was like trying to offer me his mayhems and stuff, and I was like, oh.
He's like too loyal. He's like, no.
Hey, one of the things I noticed is on quite a few waves you were paddling right, and sort of, you know, exercising that sort of fade technique a little bit, it looks like, I don't know. Are you a fan of the Hobgoods? Did you ever remember seeing them take off really late at Chopu and stuff like that? Because your front knee sort of does a similar. You look like you just, as soon as you stand on the board, you're able. I mean, aside from when you fade right, but as soon as you put your toe side rail in the water, it looks like you get like perfect grip. Where did you develop that? Is that something that you noticed from the Hobgoods at all, or I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was actually fading on a lot of the waves because I felt like I was sitting wider than I would in like a free surf. So I was like, just kind of. I think it's easier to feel like you can make the wave from a little wider spot, but actually looking back at the footage, I wish I was like sitting a little deeper where I usually sit in a free surf, because that's kind of where you would get waves in a free surf. But usually the whole pack is sitting right in front of the two trees, like in a free surf, and you just can't really sit there when you're in a free surf to get waves. But I felt like I was just sitting a little wider than I maybe should have.
How is that remorse you get when you look at the footage and you go like, fuck, I could have fucking been deeper. Everybody
every
does
time.
that. Everybody does that unless you don't make it. And then when what happened on a couple of waves that you didn't make? Do you I might show a couple waves of yours right now. There's quite a few you made, and then there was a couple you didn't make, and I was just wondering, like, inside the tube, like, what did you make a mistake in the in where you picked the wave, or did you slow down too much, or were you too low on the wave?
Yeah, I think for me it's just all about positioning. Like, I didn't even think about technique too much or anything when I'm out there. I just think about where I am and where I am in the lineup, and trying to, you know, react to different swell lines and what those kind of waves are going to do at different points in the reef.
Show that
And
Backdoor one again.
I don't really think too much about technique, but I just kind of, it's all about how deep you are, and then after the fact you're like, oh, I could have been deeper, or oh, it's too deep. And
it looks like you're plenty deep on this Backdoor one. What happened on this one? Can you take us through this?
Oh, I remember this wave. It was like my only right of the contest. I thought I was in a really good spot. Like, usually you want to take off pretty behind it on the rights. And I think my board is a little long, and it just felt the foam ball a little too much at the end. I was on a 610, and that wave was pretty small, so I think that's why.
It looked like you ran into the foam ball.
Yeah, I remember the foam ball actually just shot my board up, and I like flew into the roof of the barrel.
Because so we went through that earlier with Mason, and his stance, perhaps, like, in the just obviously it's easy to say when you're going through retrospect, but like perhaps your stance could have been a touch wider to handle that. Did you think of that?
I mean, so. I was actually thinking back on what I could have done. I don't know. I think I just felt like I was too deep, and the foam ball was a little too violent. But maybe I could have widened my stance, or like came in at more of an angle to try and get a higher of a line.
A little bit higher, yeah.
I get a little more speed maybe, but
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
and it looks
Yeah.
like it looks like you do a little bit of one of those, like what Barron was doing, which is those little pump things. Like
I
it
know.
looks kind of like when we last see your board, you look a little bit low on the wave. Oh, anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
didn't get
backside, you don't get too much practice. It's like pretty cool to analyze the rights because
yeah
you don't
right
get to go right too much
yeah right
backside
yeah.
because I'm not really looking right all the time in the free surf. But
This one looked ultra casual right here. That one looked. That
yeah, it was a nice, easy little one. I think that heat was like there were so many of those little waves. It was like a short period swell, and I was kind of sitting wide. I think I saw Balaran actually in a heat before that day, and he was just catching so many waves and like looked like he was having so much fun. And I was just like, oh, I just want to catch a bunch of waves and have fun and kind of
yeah.
learn what all those different waves feel like because you don't get to feel like every different type of wave in a
Yeah,
free surf.
that's
So
yeah,
in the
yeah.
shootout, you can like figure out all these different types of waves, which is it's super.
How do you
You learn so much. Yeah.
how do you how often do you use that double arm bottom turn to slow down?
Whenever I'm too wide.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think I was too wide in a lot of those waves, but yeah, not ideal. But
wow,
I
that
think
one was
that's my
really nice.
worst.
Yeah.
My worst when I'm too wide. That's why I probably look ugly sometimes, like double arm bar. But I just like don't want to be too wide. Trying to get through.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the one. Well, yeah, there's congratulations. You guys must have this could be your your biggest win of your career. I mean, one of the best waves in the world, and with on the team with some of the best surfers in the world. So pretty,
Yeah.
you're a pretty underground guy, but anybody who knows about good surfing knows who you are, and it is not a surprise. You spent a lot of time out here. I mean, I met you when you were a young guy with when I was coaching Connor and Parker, and yeah, a long time ago. So it's wonderful to see that you feel quite comfortable out there.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Anything you wanna share that was extra special for you on the day?
Ooh, yeah, just the team vibe was super sick. We didn't have like the competitive thing where I think like maybe not a lot of people, but some of the other teams I've seen like were kind of looked like they were a little more selfish than us. Like they wanted to win, but we were kind of cruising and just trading waves, and I think that's why it was. Yeah.
Bad. We were calling them weirdos.
There's no weirdos in our team.
We're calling anyone who is battling in the heats because it's not like heats, you're just your team. We're calling them weirdos. So we're all like, yeah, I know weirdos. Come on, like we're all taking turns. We're all good. Like
it looked like
funny.
And I'm gonna wrap it up here, but you guys want to you say anything that was extra special that you felt during the event, or
that was
I love that you guys were working together, because I think that really is the essence of surfing is togetherness and vibe, and getting stoked on somebody else doing something, and then you getting inspired to do something yourself. So
yeah, that was a fun time for sure. It's definitely
best
the most
times.
contest.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for doing this and coming on. I'm so stoked to talk with you guys, and man, I love where surfing's going. I love the different size of boards you guys all rode and how you utilize them to to your advantage. And man, let me ask an obvious question. You're gonna enter it again next year as the defending champs? No weirdos.
Team, no weirdos, nah.
No weirdo thing going on. That's so good.
Oh, imagine naming the team that. Oh, snap 4. Snap ball. But yeah, the dream would be we just same team, same that vibe, the vibes. I've never even felt surf or that. I've never even felt sessions that cool and peaceful before, and such like crazy, nice, perfect surf. So that was like, oh, hopefully again.
I guess I just thought of like when you take off and you're pulling yourself down the wave and you're touching the water, what is the and you feel yourself slowing down to that perfect speed in the tube. Is there like, I don't know, is there a better feeling?
That's for you, Benji. I can't believe how many. You got so many. How hard were your waves spitting? How do you know which ones to go on?
I don't know. Your ones were all spitting. I felt like I was going on all the mini. I was going on 3-footers.
No, not 3. Well, you had a couple where I was like, holy shit, I didn't even see that wave come in. And when I seen the clip, I was like, that was like a 10-footer. Just, I was like, he was like, I didn't even know what.
Yeah, just experimenting again. All the different kinds of little waves.
Right.
It's like, this wave's going to barrel, that wave's going to barrel. It's like so hard to resist a wave out there when you see all them. They're all going to barrel. So it's like, oh.
I think that would be pretty tough too, is how do you not go on something that looks, did you guys let a couple go that you thought weren't that good and then ended up being good? Or, you know, are you a little too picky sometimes or what, or, you know?
I think so. I think maybe I should have been a little more picky. I was kind of going on all these little ones and I was
you're just
kind of looking at everyone else's bigger ones at the end and I was like, oh wow, I should have waited for some better waves. But like Mason had all these huge ones and
I skipped a couple.
Awesome. Well, thanks you guys so much. It was really great talking with you and learning stuff from you, and you keep it going. Obviously, you know, Mason, your dad's still ripping. I know I'm 55, so he's 66, or I know he's about 60. I know he's about 11 years.
Or 5, maybe even now, 64.
Yeah, he's either, all those guys, MR, Sean, and they all were like 10 or 11 years older than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully hopefully the world opens up and I can get over there and see you guys in person and Gizzle on one or two at V-Land a little bit, you know.
100%, bro. Come out the back door. You know those 4 to 6 foot or 8 foot. You know your ones.
Okay, maybe on one of those days when I get lucky, you know.
Because right here, the next Baron, Benji, it's just us out there anyway. A couple of them.
Killer. Well, good luck in the contest, Baron, and hope you get in it, Mason. And they're not going to have a trials event or anything, are they? Do you know?
No, I don't think they did this year. There's usually a nice big trials round for everyone to go, but I don't know. I don't know what happened this year.
I don't know. Yeah, contest organizers are.
Yeah, you know, we don't even have to tell you nothing.
They're a different group. They're a different group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go whatever. We'll just freaking try.
Hopefully they adhere to the no weirdos, but I'm not so sure.
Right. That rule would be good almost anywhere. Almost.
Well, when I first started doing the game format, which is you're in the water with your own team, there were guys like hassling each other, and the other guys were like, "Dude, we're on the same team. What are you doing, man?" Like, you know,
that's what we're calling.
We're blowing it. We want to win, don't we? You know, like, oh, yeah. Which is like when you serve with your friends, like that's what you do, you know. So
yeah, gotta get psyched to just share. Cool.
I got one story for you. Back when we were on tour, so we would go everywhere around the world and then practice before the contest. And you know, your uncle and your dad would be out, and then they would cut me off on a wave, and I'd be like, "Dude, what do you like?" And they were like,
"Why?"
And I was like a rookie, you know, so whatever that, like, and then my dad was like, "Don't let him do that," you know, and I'm like, "Well, I know, I don't want to," but you know, and then finally I remember I was like, that's it. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm going to cut up. I'm going. And I went, and I remember your dad going, what are you doing? Like, he's getting mad at me. And I'm like, dude, you're still my hero, but I want to win the contest. I need to practice too. You know, like, go. And he was like, all right. You know, it was like, it was like just honest truth. And he was like, all right. And I remember they're like, hey, you better watch out. And then 2 weeks later, we're staying somewhere, and I was just imitating everybody, Aki and Sean, and just and that was, I had both your uncle and your dad just tears of laughing, and I just thought, I'm gonna be fine when I go to Hawaii. It's gonna be fine, you know. Yeah, but it was just back then, man. It was just
madness back then.
Anything that worked to get waves.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude, that's so funny. I heard back then. Those are all the best stories were from back then. Now we just got that's why we just got the I don't know. I don't even know.
I had a heat with Derek at Pipe, and the waves were so perfect, and I ate it like 2 weeks beforehand because I accidentally dropped in on somebody. I didn't see them, and as I dropped in, it was Chuck Andrus, and he went, "Whoo!" like this. It was like I went, "Yikes!" And I fell at the worst spot, like right here. As I dropped in, I fell like right there, and the wave just pitched me out, and like I landed on the reef with my hip, like a bead Durbridge thing, except I didn't break my hip, but I couldn't walk for a few days. It just automatically made me scared of pipe, and I wasn't scared of pipe before that.
Yeah.
So when I had my heat against Derek, I wore a helmet, and I wore like a kayaker's fucking helmet, and it was like this giant helmet, and I was like, fucking, I don't know, it was like it was like a race car driver having an accident, having to get back in the car and get through the smoke screen. And I remember the waves were so perfect, and this wave was coming in, and I was looking at it like, oh, I was drooling, and your uncle was like, he looks at me and he goes, go ahead. And I was like, all right, fucking killer. I got this wave, and I got like barreled, and you know, like I was like, fuck yeah, the wave was awesome. I was paddling back out, and he just got the smoking fucking 10 in front of me, just I was just like, wow, you know. But
that's a sick.
I beat him at Sandy Beach like before, and you know,
whoa, that's gnarly.
You know how competitive he was.
That's gnarlier than beating him at Pipe.
He was so mad at me, you know, and I held him off a wave with priority, and he was like looking at me like, what the fuck? And I go, dude, I want to win too. We had these things going on, but we always, you know, every time I saw him, he would hit me and go like, oh, he just loved seeing me. He like his face lit up. It was
you guys were like good.
Oh, we had so much fun. So anyway, I feel connected to you from your dad and your uncle. So
thank you, man.
Thanks for what you do. Too. Thanks, boys. Thanks, Baron. Thanks, Benji. Thanks, Logan. Thanks, Parker. Stoked on today. I appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having
boys.
Us. Nice to see you guys. What, Baron? Are you paddling back out? Baron, you paddling back out?
Look.
Pipes?
I'm gonna go look right now.
You are? Okay. I don't know what to do. I got pounded. I got one, so I got both. I don't know whether to go back or not.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Okay. Yeah, Ben, get better too.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Thanks.
You're good. Okay.
Get better.
Later, boys.
Yeah, man. Woo.
Okay.
Grr doggy.
Yep. Wow. Oh, it takes so much energy to keep coming up with questions and keep coming.